So there's a lot of things that come into from the confidence of just being able to walk away from something, but also backing yourself up. See, if you're going to burn it until you earn it, because I love that phrase, so I'm going to say it as much as I can, then you're probably going to come with the evidence, with the information that can back up your statements. Whereas if you're faking it, you don't have anything behind you. Welcome back, everyone, to Life at 10 Tenths, where we inspire you to live at the pinnacle of your ability and purpose. I'm Matt Pinelli. He's Garrett Fry. And thank you guys for joining us today. We have a fun episode. One of Garrett and my's least favorite phrases reframed into an awesome, way better phrase by one of the individuals that Garrett works with. So, Garrett, I'm excited to talk about this with you today. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to go down this route too. And yeah, long-term friend of mine, Mike Doyle, we were on a coaching call the other day, and we got into it, before we give you the phrase, we got into a conversation about, some agents that I was recently talking to that kind of weren't really convinced in their own abilities. They were kind of, had their numbers put together, presenting them to their clients, but the clients weren't really believing in those numbers. They were kind of going, nah, I hear what you're saying, but I think this. And that the agent wasn't standing up for their numbers. They weren't really taking ownership and saying, no, like, this is the facts of what's going on. Here's the it'd be like a doctor coming to you and being like, well, all the tests say you have, these things going on. And you're like, I choose to not believe you. And I'm going to go do something else over here, which I get it. There's the right times to get second opinions. But if you're not going to get a second opinion and you're just like, I don't believe you. And the doctor goes, oh, okay. Well, what would you like to do then? Like, there's a lot of realtors that do this out here. And so I was talking with Mike about it, and he goes, that brings me back to fake it till you make it. He goes, oh my gosh. He goes, you have got to believe in yourself, and you've got to believe in what you are presenting, and you need to own it, that you are the real estate professional that has the facts and the data, and you've got to stand up for who you are. And he goes, you got to burn it till you earn it. And I was like, well, there's a podcast.
Man, I love the burn it till you earn it. And we've done fake it till you make it. I don't know. We've talked about it many, many times over the years. And it always comes up too, particularly beginning of the year. People are like, I just need to fake it until I make it. And like, I don't like that phrase because it assumes a mindset of disbelief in who you are, right? And it also, I think, assumes a goal that you don't really want as well. Now, I also get it in context. People will be like, well, I kind of faked it until I make it, because you hear the stories of like Ryan Serhant's fake Rolex, or Ed Milet, dressing up his car as a Mercedes, even though it wasn't a Mercedes. And you might even hear from the saying like, well, it kind of like probably wasn't a good thing to do, but it did work, right? And that is like kind of the epitome of fake it until you make it. And I would argue that those two people have done very, very well for themselves. But
hold on. The fake Rolex doesn't put people into a bad position. The car that's on lease that they are making look like they own it and they bought it themselves.
It wasn't even on lease. He literally put a Mercedes badge on like, so.
The person that rents, the Ferrari to be able to take pictures with it to put out to their people isn't necessarily potentially causing people damage around a thing that they are faking at the moment. And this is where it gets strange, Matt. And that's why I'll let you keep going, but that's, yes.
Well, and that's where I get into, it's the mindset behind it. And more than ever, that how we communicate to ourselves about what we're doing is outrageously important for our acceleration, because the fake it till you make it worked when there wasn't the acceleration of digital media and all of these other things, because you could kind of move a bit slower. Fake it till you make it is slow. Burn it till you earn it is fast, because you believe in yourself. You're focusing on doing the right things, which maybe the right thing for you is faking an image. I don't think so. But that doesn't work today, right? You got to really look at it and say, hey, I believe in this. And also just stand up for what you know and what you don't know, right? When we go back to fake it, it's like a lot of people assume, well, that means I need to lie and cheat and steal my way to the top. And it's like, no, that's not what it is. It's learning as you're doing the thing, even though you know that you don't know how to do the thing. Right?
Yep.
Building a bicycle while you're riding it is hard to do. It's possible. It's not going to work as well as a perfectly built bicycle, but you can learn as you go. And that's the burn it till you earn it versus the fake it till you make it.
Well, and this goes back to like, okay, so let's say we have a house that, let's say market price of the house is $1 million. And you have a client that says, I want to do 1.2. That's what I want to do. And you, as the realtor, know this thing isn't going to sell for 1.2. It's not going to happen. You have all the data, all the facts, all the pieces put together. You've compiled all your information, and you go and stand in front of this person to say, look, I need you to see the data. I need you to see the facts. When I look at the idea of burn it till you earn it, you better know and stand behind that data to a point with so much conviction that that person goes, oh crap, like Garrett truly believes, and I can see, and he has shown me that that really truly is what that property needs to hit the market for, and it would be damaging to us to do it any differently. And by the energy that he has with them and how much conviction he has and how much he believes in himself as the professional here, I believe him. And this is something we need to do. The worst thing you can do is come and say, all right, so you want to do 1.2. I really think you probably need to be around this range, and I'm going to show you all the data. And the client goes, we're not doing that. And you go, oh, okay, well, I guess we'll put it on for 1.2. We have now put ourselves into a position of a relationship with that person, by the way, that from here going forward for the rest of time, I don't believe you. You bring me anything, and I'm going to go, nope. And the mere fact that you went, okay, and you just went, means you don't believe in yourself, which means I can't trust you. I can't trust the information you bring to me. I can't trust the directions that you give me. And when you say, I think we need to make a change, my brain goes, I don't think that person believes in themselves. I'm not going to take their information. I don't think I want to go that way right now. That is not the trusted advisor professional that any of us want in our world. If I was to go to my mechanic and they're like, this is what's going on with your car, and I'd be like, I don't think it's that. And they're like, you might be right. You know what? We'll do that fix first because like it may not be this. I would be like, what is your job? Like I thought your job was to be able to diagnose my vehicle and tell me what I need to do. And all it took was me going, no, I like my way better. And you just folded and went my way. I have no trust in you moving forward. I won't use you. This is actually a waste of my time as far as I'm looking at it right now. If I went to a doctor and did that, if I had a construction person in my house and I'm trying to figure out where the water leak's coming from and they give me their idea of exactly where it is, and I go, I don't think that's where it is. I think it's the other side over there. Like, you might be right. Let's start working on the far corner of the house over there. There's a part of me going like, did you not believe in what you actually said? Did you? Because the right thing would have been is, I'm not working on that side of the house. I'm only going to work right there because that's where the leak is. And if you don't want me to do the work, I'm going to go. And I think that we need to stand up for our business in that way. If we're going to bring data and facts to the table and we're going to stand behind them, you also need to be able to stand up to walk away when that client says, I want to do it my way. And you go, well, that's not how this is going to work. Because that's not a winning solution.
Yeah, and I think that underlines that burn it part of the phrase, which the reason why a lot of people will not stand up for themselves or do the work to find the deeper information that you might need to be able to do that and have that confidence is because they're fearful about losing that piece of business. Well, I need this piece of business. But if you are really putting in the effort, if you're burning it, you're like, all right, cool. I'm just going to go to the next one because I believe in my abilities. I believe in what I'm doing, and I'm going to work as hard as I need to work to get the string of evidence that proves my work out on the back end. Because the better you get at this, the more proof you have, which then recycles for you, right? This is particularly, and because the whole fake it till you make it really comes from people who are new into the industry. And it's like, okay, yes, in the beginning, you don't necessarily have proof. proof because you haven't really done it yet. So people will fake it. And the thing is if you make this imaginary image of your proof, when you get to that moment of standing in front of a client, it all comes down. And it's all, everything that you explained, Garrett, is a whole non-conscious conversation that happens inside the minds, which leaves you walking out of an appointment going, I don't even know what happened. Right? Because you didn't get that feedback in there, right? Because if somebody said, hey, you know what, Garrett, I don't believe you, right? I don't believe you. I don't think that you believe in yourself. You might be like, you know what? You're kind of right. So let me go rework some numbers to come back to you with some better evidence that this is the strategy that we should use. Like, all right, cool. Let's work on that. That conversation is never going to happen. So where we need to start from is instead of you presenting yourself as if like you're this person you're not, is do the work and be like, hey, listen, I've done the work because I have the time to go in and analyze all these things. I went to these experts. I went to this stuff. I looked at all these things and we compared it here. And by the way, there's an element, because in real estate this exists, that we actually don't know. We don't know exactly what's going to happen tomorrow when we put your property on the market, but this is the best information that we have to go from. And if we want the best opportunity for success, this is what I recommend. And this is what I stand behind, right? And so to me, that feels like burning it, whereas faking it is basically just trying to make it up.
Well, and so if we go back to like the house price, like the question I asked is like, if you have somebody that says, but we still want to list it at, let's say 1.2, the best question you can ask is, well, what evidence do you have that says it's 1.2? Like you would do better instead of just folding and going like, well, if that's what they want to do, I guess I'll just take it at that and roll with it. Like, no, if you're going to stand behind the information that you put together and stand behind you being a professional in this area, if the non-professional is saying they want to go do something else, if you're going to follow that person, all I would have to say is I need to see facts to be able to do that. Like I need to have some information if I'm going to take that journey with you. If you were a guide walking through the Amazon, and I know the safe route and the client's like, I want to go that way. And you're like, okay. Everything I know is there are man-eating tribes that direction. And they're like, I don't care. I want to go that way. You get to make the decision of, do I want to go on that path with you? And I also have the choice of going like, hey, you know what? Good luck. I believe so much that that's a bad decision. I'm not going to take that walk with you. I'm going to stay over here. If you choose to come with me, I know I can get you to the other side of the jungle safely. That route, though, that is not a winning route. And the minute you go, okay, I'll go with you and go that way, you've given them a false sense of hope. And if you do get into trouble that way, you have zero credibility. You're done. They will never use you again. They will never refer you to a friend. They will never go, that's my realtor for the future that's going to help me with all my other real estate transactions. You've now led them into a danger zone. And they're like, why did we get here? And you're like, well, because you wanted to go here. And you're like, well, you're supposed to tell me to keep me safe that was a bad idea. Why didn't you tell me? Because you wanted to go there.
But you didn't want to listen. But then you came along anyway. And I think this is actually an interesting point too, Garrett, because no matter what is said in that initial thing, if you are on the journey with them, they're always going to point the finger back at you.
Always.
Like, even if you're like, but I said it was worth this. It's like, why are we here then? It's like you are said that we would be okay with going on at this price. It's like, so there's a lot of things that come into from the confidence of just being able to walk away from something, but also backing yourself up. See, if you're going to burn it until you earn it, because I love that phrase, so I'm going to say it as much as I can, then you're probably going to come with the evidence, with the information that can back up your statements. Whereas if you're faking it, you don't have anything behind you, right? You don't have the deed to the car. You don't have, the title to the car, I should say, the deed to the house. So if you think of it as that way of, hey, I'm just going to burn it, I'm going to work as hard as I can, then you're going to think of like, hey, I should probably come with some more stuff, some more information, some more evidence, just in case this goes a certain direction so that I can feel confident in this decision to walk away if I have to, or if we are going to go on a very tough journey together, it is clear of like, all right, fine, we're going to go with the man-eating tribe. Well, hold on, I'll be right back. Wait, where are you going? Oh, I'm going to go get all of my other munitions and armor and all those other things, because if we're going to go that path, we're going to need to suit up. And they're going to be like, oh, okay. Like,
wait, We're going on a different journey.
At least you got the expectation set, you know?
Well, and I think, okay, so we've done this like around price, but like, let's just have some fun and let's go like to a real estate review, Matt. So let's just take it that way. The fake it till you make it approach that I watch with real estate reviews is when I have a realtor come to me and go, okay, can you just give me one that works for somebody else? And I just want to copy theirs and I'll just start putting it out. I'll meet with people and I'll do those, or I'll just mail them. We'll just get those out. That's a fake it till you make it approach if you're owning this idea of real estate reviews. Burn it till you earn it is I'm going to create a document here of information that I think is extremely valuable to homeowners that they're going to walk away going, wow, like I've never had a real estate agent produce this type of information. And thank you so much for caring about me and taking the time to be my professional. And by the way, I'm not just going to like just drop them in the mail or email them. Like it's so important that I meet with that person and I sit with them down with them as their professional that I'm going to make sure it's a sit down face-to-face meeting every single year with this group of people because I owe it to them because that's my job and that's my expertise and this is what I can give to them. I am their professional. I'm not just here throwing out content. I'm not just hoping that they're going to notice me and want to use me for real estate. Like I am their person for all real estate matters and all real estate needs. That is a burning it till you earn it with the real estate review. It might be a deal right now. It might be a deal in 10 years because I've consistently shown up for them in this way as this professional. But so often, Matt, I have people that don't want to own it in that way. They don't want to build their persona around that. They just want to go like, just give me something that works. Oh, that one worked for somebody else? Cool, I'm going to use it. And what they do is they start throwing it out there and they're like, I don't know, I really don't like, the real estate reviews really don't do anything for me. Well, you're not really burning until you earn it. You're just faking it till hopefully you maybe make it with it. And then you're like, it didn't work. Pfft, moving along.
Well, and I think the key element there really is intent because I think there's value in seeing other people's templates to see and gain ideas of how you want to construct something. And, you know, we talk about with the engagement engine, depending on the type of touch, there is benefit in mailing if we have really high volume and what that process looks like. But it comes down to intent because what you're explaining is someone who just wants to throw something out there because on the surface, it worked for somebody else. It's like saying, hey, I saw Garrett take a picture next to a Lamborghini, so I'm going to go do that because that works for me. But what they didn't see was all the work that Garrett put behind rebuilding this Lamborghini that was damaged in a fire and everything from scratch to get it up to where it was for this moment of pride of like, look at what I can do. And this person's now going to be like, oh, I'm going to go take a picture in front of a Lamborghini and everybody's going to think I'm just like Garrett, right?
I still see Ty Lopez. These cars behind me, knowledge. It's all these books.
Right? And so people just assume they can take the end result of somebody and just apply it to them and it works.
Yeah.
And you can have that same look, but if you don't have the work behind it, and that is the real estate review is a great example of that because people just want to put the polish on the end without understanding the data and all the things that go behind it. And we see this with marketing because there's elements of your business where they're like, oh, I just want to make this image look a certain way. We see this with new agents who invest in a lot of this stuff and it's worth it. I'm not saying it is not worth investing in your brand, how it looks and doing the marketing and then hiring other people to help you with it. But knowing what's going into it is so incredibly important so that you can then pile value on top of it. Otherwise, you're just a dude in front of a Lamborghini with no story. And we want the story. The Lamborghini is not the problem. It's the lack of a story that exists that makes it a fake it till you make it moment. And usually it ends up as you just keep faking it until eternity. Whereas if you do put in the work, you will earn whatever comes on the other side of that. There will be something earned.
Well, the word you said a little bit back here, Matt, that got my attention was intent. And I think that word intent, if you look at the idea of fake it till you make it, till burn it till you earn it, there's a very, very, very different intent behind that. And you know that I think summarizes it all right down to that. Like, what is your intent that you're trying to do? Are you just trying to create a situation that allows you to be really successful? Or are you truly trying to be a professional in your industry and in the world that you're in? By the way, the success comes to actually the person when we're watching somebody grow and they're faking it and just trying to there's a point in there where they make an internal switch where they have a belief in themselves, they trust themselves, they'll stand behind the numbers that they are going to put on the table in front of somebody. They will tell somebody that isn't going to work because they know it and they trust and they believe it in themselves. That's a different moment where that person in any business will completely change the trajectory of their business because they truly have a belief in themselves and the intent is different. Their intent there is to do the best job ever, not to see if they can converse, to find a closing, to find a new piece of business, to, get another, paycheck. Their intent is very different. And if I look at all the top producing realtors or business owners in my world, I don't know any of them that were really got there by just faking it. They got there by stopping and saying, it is so important that I'm giving quality information, that I'm guiding people in the right direction, and I'm really coming at this with the right intent. And when the people saw the right intent, the people were like, tell me where to go. What do you got? You tell me what to do, I will do it. And that is the coolest thing. We've seen it, Matt, with agents that build these incredible relationship businesses and they go on vacation with their family. I've got a friend of mine right now. We're going to have him on the podcast. He's in Hawaii for a month. He does it every single year. Ted Bash will be on the podcast. He's coming up and he's there for a month, and being there for a month, he has people that are covering his business. At the same point, he always has people that say things like, hey, when you come back, we're ready to list our house. That is a trust level and an understanding that you earn, and you don't get there you don't earn that by faking it till you make it. Like, he has burned it till he's earned it, and he's put in the time and he's put in the energy, and that's where those relationships come from.
And if we even go back to our interview with Jess Babington, which if you haven't listened to that episode, go to January 6th, either on YouTube or any of our audio platforms, and listen to that interview. And if you're not subscribed to our podcast to get those things coming to you, whatever app you're listening to this on, just hit the subscribe button. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, bell, all those things. But Jess talked about going from her sphere that she had to go into the luxury market, which is where a lot of people take that fake it till you make it approach. Let me just start dressing differently and all these things. And their mindset is faking it. But like, if you really are transforming maybe who you are and where you hang out and those things, you're not faking anything. You are working your way in. It's when you start lying and not doing the work that kind of becomes the fake thing. And Jess went into it with really incredible intent, really just looking to serve people in her community and move into these areas that she really wanted to go into. And she did it. And she put in the work. She burned it until she earned it. And I think that's a great podcast for anybody who's ever thought about leveling up their average price point or building a business that actually they run versus one that runs them. That's a great episode to go listen to. And man, it's just anytime I even go back and think about Ed Milet shares this story a lot on his podcast where he like stopped at an intersection so short because for whatever reason, and the front end of his car, which was fake, like flew off into the middle of the intersection, and he had to get out and go get it because it was this kit that he put on to make it look like a Mercedes. And he was like, there's moments like that just made me think like, what am I doing? Is it right? But his intent all along was to grow this thing that he was working on and to serve people at a higher level. And I think even if we all go through these journeys too, where we do feel like we need to like do a little bit of faking or whatever. And then we have this moment of clarity of like, well, maybe if I just transition it. And so another element I'll add into this, Garrett, is don't judge what other people are doing. Like if you think like somebody's faking it, like maybe they're just figuring it out, or maybe they already have figured it out and you're judging yourself through what you're looking at them with. Because I've been there and done that. I'm like, man, what's this person doing? Like, no way. Like, what are they just trying to fake their way into this? And I'm like, or maybe they're learning something that I'm not learning. And if we look at it with that, intent changes, because fake it till you make it versus burn it till you earn it is two things, in my opinion: a mindset and your actions that you take, right?
Well, and I was sitting here thinking about like organizations or things that you go through a process and that all of a sudden the other side of it, you literally put on the jacket, you put on the cloak almost that says, I am this now. Fraternities are that way. Fraternities are not, I was never in a fraternity. It's funny, and the reason this is resonating with me is there was a fraternity. I went to the University of Montana. There was a fraternity on campus there that I was friends with all the guys in the fraternity, and they were like, "You're an honorary member. We're gonna make you an honorary. You're honorary." What is that? Like, I look back and it was kind of funny because like I wasn't involved in the meetings. I wasn't involved in all the stuff that they had going on. I wasn't invited to the actual bigger events that they had going on. You know, it was a fun guy that they like hanging around in the fraternity. But I could never call myself a member of that fraternity. I could never take that ownership of it. I was literally kind of faking it on the outside and not really taking the step of what it meant to say, I'm going to take ownership of this. There's a lot of fans of colleges out there. It's different when you come across a fan. Texas A&M is a prime example of what my daughter is going to. Like, there's a thing of saying, oh yeah, I love Texas A&M. And then there's another thing when you watch two people that actually have gone through what it took to become part of that university and what they are and what it stands for. And man, if they have the gold rings and they have this whole symbol thing of like, when the gold rings touch, you're in. Like, it's an incredible energy that they own as Texas A&M, but you had to earn, you put in the time and the energy to earn that spot, to be in there. I think that you got to look at this industry that you're going into and this business that you're building. And I want to encourage everybody, like, don't just dabble around on the outside, like go all in on this. Like, if you're going to give data to people, go and understand that data so well and so deep and ask more questions and learn from more people so that when you're sitting across from somebody, you can own that data in a way that makes that person go, I should listen to Matt. It doesn't matter that Matt's only had his real estate license for a month. You got me. I understand it. I see where you're coming from. You believe in it. I believe in you. We're going to listen to you. You've got to take ownership. And the faster you can take ownership of it, just like someone who's been admitted to, got accepted to college, just like somebody who got accepted to the Army, and now they are a soldier, and that's how they see themselves, and they own that at that moment because they've got the stuff, they've got the badge, they've got the gear, they've got all that stuff. You own it. You hold yourself differently, and the thing that you can't fake it till you make it in that scenario. Yeah. You got to take ownership of it, otherwise you get your butt handed to you. So that's where I love that Mike Doyle put this little twist on this piece, Matt, and it was a great conversation with him, and he holds no respect for the fake it till you make it, and that's coming from a veteran realtor that has created an incredible business up in Seattle, and one of the more professional realtors that I know, and he has no patience for it. He's in this industry, and what he stands for and what he sees as what a realtor should be, we should all be putting in the time, putting in the energy up front, and owning what you're building here right now. So,
well, I agree with him. So thank you, Mike, for the new phrase. I'll be saying it as much as I can now.
Well, with that being said, Matt, are we good? We cover everything, all bases? Good. Love it. So any of you listen right now, as we've been talking about, if you don't have a business plan yet, I know we're getting farther through January, but I just talked to somebody today and they're like, I can't believe I didn't get my business plan done this year. She just came into our world. You're better coming in, grabbing a business plan, figuring that out right now. The time is still there for you. We have an amazing coaching community building out of incredible people. You can come and join us there. We do live coaching every Wednesdays. Love to have you be a part of that. We do live group coaching, and we've got just incredible thoughts and ideas coming out of all the people that are in our world. And if you want to check out all of our other things, we've got our Light membership. If you want to come join us there, that's a great way to say thank you to Matt and I for the time and energy that we put in to do this. And I know that a lot of people listen and get value out there. And I just want to say thank you to everybody. We're having so much fun doing this. Matt, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you guys for tuning in as always. We appreciate you, and we got more coming your way.
Yep. Come check us out. Life at 10 Tenths. And if you want to join our coaching world, it's the 11 circle in there. And we will be back soon.
Take care, y'all.